famous Father Demos Square. This is take 3 of this event. We weren't able to have it for weather circumstances early in the year, but this worked out perfectly. We have a great lineup for you here today to celebrate the widening of bike lanes in Manhattan. And we are focused here today on 6th Avenue. Further up, it's even wider, as you'll be able to see if you go up a few blocks. We're joined here today by several council members from the lower Manhattan area. Councilmember Botcher, his district, Councilmember Rivera, Councilmember Marte, several bids as well. And now also we have Community Boards 1 and 2 represented. We have Transportation Alternatives with new Executive Director Ben Furness joining us. First public appearance by him. And also some other groups as well. So it's going to be a little bit of a long speaking program. The rain has held off, thankfully, to make this event happen. So without ado, I'll give you our Transportation Commissioner, who's been doing some great work expanding protected bike lanes throughout New York City and here in Manhattan. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Lanes throughout New York City and here in Manhattan. Thank you very much.
Thank you. First of all, I wish that all New Yorkers, from elected to government, you guys in media, celebrate how our city is the leading one in the whole globe of everything that we are doing. Right now, we will get into some information about the widening of bike lane. There's no another city in this nation that is doing what we're doing with the widening the bike lane. 2 weeks ago, I accepted an invitation. First time that I go out of the city to participate in a global conversation about safety road. And there's, of course, Family for Safe Street. They were also present. I can tell you that in a global conversation with leaders from all parts of the globe, everyone was looking at DOT. And when I had the opportunity to present the type of initiative that we're working on it, not only during my time as a commissioner, but building on previous commissioners, in my previous role as a council member, as a previous role of the chairman of the Transportation Committee. Nobody else, again, in this nation is doing the numbers of bike lane, the numbers of bus lane, the 1 million new public space that we built last year. It's so great to be able, now in my role as a commissioner, building, again, with the legacy of previous commissioners and the work that great colleague we have in government, we are doing it today. So this is another project that bring all of us together, from advocate to elective to our responsibility that now we have to lead the largest and most complex transportation system that any city have in the United States. So great job, everyone, and let's continue doing the work. As it's been said, most of you know, my name is Idanis Rodriguez, and I'm the Commissioner of the New York City Department of Transportation. Thank you, everyone, for joining us here at Father Demos Square in the West Village. I used to work here doing sandwiches somewhere at West 4th and 6th Avenue. That was my first job at O. Henry Restaurant. So it's nice to be now in this area, now in this role, in the only place where someone that came to wash dishes. And my second job doing sandwiches at 55 Water Street now is back, reporting the great initiative that we've been able to bring to New Yorkers and visitors. That's important. That's why it's so important to celebrate and give thanks to the contribution of all immigrants. We're here today to celebrate the completion of a new protected bike lane on 6th Avenue, which fills the last remaining bike lane gap on this corridor. From Lispernap Street to Greenwich Avenue, we widening, upgrade, continue to West 13th Street. The filling of the gap now connect the entire protected lane, all 4.1 miles of it, from its origin along Church Avenue at Barclay Street to Central South. And I want to say thank you to Transportation Alternative, Bike New York. They will say a few words later on, but when I took office, I met and I have continued meeting with them to focus on the quality of the bike lane as we also work toward the numbers of bike lane. Cyclists can now ride from the village to Central Park without leaving a parking protected bike lane. This area of 6th Avenue include new double wide segments to better accommodate traditional cyclists and e-bike riders. It also promotes social side-by-side riding. Overall, it's much more comfortable experience. But this project is not just about bikes. This southern section of 6th Avenue is one of the most dangerous streets in Manhattan, with 18 severe injuries and 200 total injuries from 2019 to 2023. This project makes the street safer for everyone. By repurposing a vehicle travel lane, we not only create a safe cyclist space, but we also added new pedestrian islands to shorten the time it takes to cross the street. Something that is very important for all New Yorkers, but especially to parents that they're crossing with children and our senior citizen population. We also redesigned intersections to naturally slow turning vehicles to help ensure they see people crossing the street. This project is just one of many we completed across our city in 2024 to help support sustainable transportation and make it easier than ever for all New Yorkers and visitors to travel through Manhattan's central business districts without a car. Everyone should always remember, and I ask the advocate in the private sector to help me to educate all New Yorkers about the benefit of bike. When you bike, it's good for the environment, it's good for the economy, and it's good for the health of those individuals. And by the way, I was riding bike with the Minister of Transportation of Ireland a few years ago, and he was saying the data that if everyone bike half an hour every day, they live an average of 6 more years. So we want to put those data there so more New Yorkers understanding that biking is not a luxury. Biking is also a human right. We installed new bike infrastructure on 1st Avenue, 2nd Avenue, 6th Avenue, 7th Avenue, and on 10th Avenue right here in the council member Butchers District, who has all the council members here, they've been great champion and ally on making our street more pedestrians and cyclist friendly. On each avenue, we have installed wider bike lanes to create more welcoming cyclist experiences. This is also part of Mayor Eric Adams' Charge Safe, Ride Safe initiative. We saw East River bridges. Remember the data that I shared with you. In 2023, we had 200 million bike trips in New York City, compared to 98 million that we had in 2008. City Bike have enormous record years with nearly 45 million riders taken. We want to keep up the momentum in 2025, and we have some great projects on tap here in Manhattan, including expanding 3rd Avenue's bike and bus lane. This year we have, yes, it's a good one. This year we have already delivered important upgrade by adding a green wave to the existing bike lane. The green wave times traffic light to reduce delay for cyclists and cut down on red light running. We're also planning to widen existing portion of 6th Avenue's bike lanes. I'd like to thank Councilmember Butchers, Martes, Rivera, and all other elected officials in Manhattan who have been so supportive of this work. I'd like to take a moment to appreciate the work of bike units and Manhattan Borough Commissioner. Let's give them a big round of applause. They're the one who do the great job, and we as a commission, and we deliver the good news. But I always appreciate how we had a great team in our job, led by Margaret Fugioni, my first deputy commissioner, who oversees all operations, Eric Beaton, Ed Pincas, Sean Quinn, Sean Macias, Rachel Eisenberg, Patrick Kennedy, Claire Bergman, Preston Johnson, and many others. And as Spanish is my first language, I will say something in Spanish for 1 minute. Para mí es un honor estar aquí a nombre del alcalde Ray Gardens, trayendo otro de los proyectos importantes en esta área, que es un proyecto que busca hacer de la ciudad de Nueva York la ciudad que siga liderando a nivel mundial, el lugar donde tenemos la mejor infraestructura para que montar bicicleta, al igual que caminar, sea seguro. En la Sexta Avenida nosotros hoy estamos terminando parte del proyecto que ya lo comenzamos, donde un ciclista pueda ir desde esta área hasta Central Park con líneas de bicicleta protegidas. Lo hacemos porque hoy día en la ciudad de Nueva York la forma de transportación son los trenes, son los vehículos, pero también montar en bicicleta, al igual también que caminar, son otras formas que nosotros vamos a seguir incentivando. Bajo este alcalde, bajo esta administración, trabajando con todos los grupos que nos acompañan, nosotros hemos logrado ser un modelo a nivel mundial y es el compromiso que tenemos. Seguir ampliando las áreas de la bicicleta, no solamente para los ciclistas tradicionales, sino para los que trabajan haciendo trabajo esencial de llevar comida a los apartamentos, para la compañía que hacen delivery, que necesitan más espacio también. Hoy venimos aquí junto con los oficiales electos, con los grupos advocate, a compartir con todos los neoyorquinos de que en la ciudad de Nueva York seguimos haciendo grandes proyectos para asegurarnos, mejorar la seguridad para todos, para el que él camina, para el que monta en bicicleta y también para el que anda en vehículo. With now, let me give you Councilman Butcher, who has been a great partner with this initiative.
Thank you, Commissioner Rodriguez, and everyone at the Department of Transportation, Ed Pinkar, the Manhattan Borough Commissioner, all my colleagues in government, council members Marte and Rivera, and all the other stakeholders, Community Ward 2, the Hudson Square bid, and everyone else who made this possible. I moved to New York in 2001, and for 24 years, I've been biking up Lower 6th Avenue, sharing the street with cars and trucks. And it has been extremely dangerous when you're sharing a lane with an 18-wheeler and the wheels are inches from your head. No more. One of my goals as a city council member has to fully build out the bike lane infrastructure on all the major corridors in our district. Last year we completed the 10th Avenue bike lane, so now we have a protected bike lane all the way from 14th Street all the way up to Harlem. Now 6th Avenue from Canal Street all the way up to Central Park South, am I right? So this is going to protect cyclists. It's also going to make things safer for pedestrians as well. The numbers are very clear. The track record is very clear, and the statistics show that protected bike lanes reduce injuries for everyone, cyclists, drivers, and pedestrians. The number of injuries on corridors with protected bike lanes are lower for pedestrians, partly because of the pedestrian refuge islands that lower the amount of time for pedestrians to they lower the amount of distance for pedestrians to cross these avenues. This was a 4-lane highway running right through the West Village. Now it's a much more human-scaled, pleasant corridor. Another huge benefit of protected bike lanes is the landscaping on the pedestrian refuge islands. And I'm a huge fan of having tree beds and flower beds in those pedestrian refuge islands. Since I took office 3 years ago, we've planted about 900 new street trees in our district. And a lot of those new street trees are in these new pedestrian refuge islands, which make our neighborhoods so much more pleasant. They absorb rainwater runoff. They promote biodiversity, lower the temperatures in the summer, and so many other benefits. So let's continue to build out our protected bike lane infrastructure all throughout New York City to make New York a place for pedestrians and cyclists and all forms of transportation, not just automobiles.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm not surprised to have Councilman Bachi as an ally, as also Kalina Rivera. In his previous role working with Speaker Johnson, that was a great moment where we also worked together, as moving, our vision to make our streets safer for cyclists and pedestrians. And again, Kalina Rivera is a great colleague, we did a lot of work together. We passed a lot of bills together and making our city more cyclist friendly. So let's hear from Councilmember Kalina Rivera.
Thank you so much. I want to thank this commissioner especially for your vision and dedication. We embarked on this mission and we will continue to advocate for all pedestrians and cyclists. We want to make New York City the friendliest city to pedestrians and cyclists, period, full stop. And so we're proud to celebrate a project that is really quite transformative. These aren't just busy bike lanes in New York City. These are some of the busiest bike lanes and greenways in all of the United States. And so we have to ensure that we are accommodating people that are commuting, people that are really taking a bike ride to enjoy the city, whether you're a tourist or a resident, and of course our hard-working delivery workers that are delivering critical food and medicine and supplies to people across the city. And so when you look at the statistics, you can see that protected bike lanes reduce total deaths and serious injuries by 18%, pedestrian deaths and serious injuries by 29%. These are real numbers. And so if we continue to build on this infrastructure, we're going to ensure that people feel empowered to get on a bike, that they feel safer walking in New York City. This is one of the safest cities in America. There is no question. We want to ensure that people feel comfortable getting out of a car, getting on a bike, taking a walk, and certainly getting on a bus, which I know that bus lanes are also one of the priorities of the Department of Transportation. And so during the first months of this year, a lot of crashes go unreported, but it is the Department of Transportation that really labors over these statistics and these stories to ensure that some of the busiest and unfortunately some of the deadliest areas receive priority and investment. So you can see it right here on 6th Avenue. I just commuted from Bellevue Hospital in Kips Bay, going through the pedestrian plaza right north of Union Square in the Flatiron, and down around from Houston Street up 6th Avenue. It is a total game changer. You can also take a look at 1st Avenue and 2nd Avenues where they've widened those bike lanes in a really amazing addition to the city. These are some of the busiest bike lanes in the city. And when you look at those widened areas, you can just feel the difference. We want people to feel safe in the city, and that starts with the people directly on the ground. So I want to thank my colleagues. There's so many amazing community-based organizations and partners behind me. I can't possibly name them all, but we can't do this work without you. And so these investments not only protect vulnerable road users, but also promote healthier communities, it reduces congestion, and it supports economic vitality. So thank you to the Department of Transportation and all of our partners. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilmember. Another great Councilmember, being also a champion, being an ally, great friend with us when it comes to major project that is important for the city, Councilmember Martin.
Hey, Chris.
Thank you, Yadanis, for all the work you have done, especially for Lower Manhattan. Lower Manhattan is one of the densest places in our city. And it's thanks to DOT, their leadership, and many of their staff workers that have continued to invest in that community to make it much safer. Last year was with the implementation of Sammy's Law, which lowered speed limits to 20 miles per hour, and we already see the statistics and the lived experience of how that neighborhood is getting much better. The start of the 6th Avenue bike lane starts right below Canal. We've seen a number of deaths. We've seen a number of tragedies all along Canal going into the Holland Tunnel. Even last year, Transportation Alternatives in our office did a walkthrough to identify the key areas that make that street extremely dangerous. By having this expanded 6th Avenue bike lane, it's a game changer. It's a game changer for cargo bikes. It's a game changer for parents taking their kids to school. It's a game changer for delivery workers. It's a game changer for city workers getting on a city bike to go to work. It really transforms your comfort on a bike. And that's what we need to do as a city. If we want to reach our climate goals, Even though in D.C. we have a president who refuses to even acknowledge climate change, we have to do much more as a city. And so these bike lanes, these infrastructure projects is making a stamp, not just in our city, but in our nation, saying that we're on the right direction. I want to thank you all for being here. I want to thank everyone, the Hudson Square Bid, the community boards, because it takes a village, La Deliveristas, it takes a village to not only change our city, but more importantly, change people's minds on how they interact with our city. Thank you.
Thank you. So we have few friends that we have here representing important institutions. We're going to be calling first Ken Baxiba and Ben Berners. Ken Baxiba is a Executive Director, CEO of Bike New York, as you will be covering, I think, May 5th. Is that the day? May 4th? So it's the largest bike tour in the United States and the second largest one in the whole globe. I think that the first largest one is in that? South Africa is the largest. In South Africa, they put together the largest bike tour, and after South Africa, New York City hold the second largest one. But from that day to the years after, there's a lot of work that Bike New York is doing, teaching children and adults how to ride a bike. Working with DOT, as also working with those that are coming from the prison system to be mechanic, that they end up having a good paid job. So again, let's get a few words from Ken Baxiba, great friend, great ally, Executive Director of Bike New York.
Thank you, yes. When this administration began, we asked Commissioner Rodriguez and the Department of Transportation, our elected officials, to make our streets safer and more accessible for all. And wow, have they delivered, and looking at this new protected bike lane says it all. As the Commissioner mentioned, it's not only about quantity, we'll get there, it's about quality. And to see these wider bike lanes, we're hoping is the new standard in protected bike lanes, because we're seeing an increase in bicyclists, both standard bicyclists, e-bikes, all these micro-mobility vehicles, and they travel at different speeds. So in order to ensure that it's safe for all, we need wider bike lanes. So we thank DOT for listening to us and delivering once again. This is a gift for all road users because it's safer for everyone, and for that, we're very grateful, Commissioner. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And it's an honor to have now Ben Furness as Executive Director of Transportation Alternative. They had to do the job as an advocate by having someone that in my previous role as council member, he been working at City Hall. I only can say he's a humble, smart guy, and it's an honor to have her now as Executive Director of Transportation Alternative.
Thank you so much, Commissioner, and it's really lovely to be here today with so many great champions for this work. At Transportation Alternatives, we humbly believe that the greatest city in the world should have the greatest streets in the world, and what that means is that they're streets that anyone feels comfortable hopping on a bike, anyone from all walks of life, whether you're hopping on a bike for fun, to get around because it's part of your job. And this bike lane here on 6th Avenue is a great example of the high-quality bike lane that we want to see as part of a protected network all across the city. So I really want to thank the incredible hard work from the Department of Transportation, all the amazing community organizations and elected officials who've toiled for so long to bring this stuff to work, and I look forward to standing with all of you for a lot more great projects in the future. Thanks so much, everyone.
Thank you. Thanks, Ben. We're almost ready for the ribbon cutting, but we have a few great partners. Let's hear from Scott joining us from the Village Alliance as Secretary Director.
I'm Scott Hobbs. I'm the Executive Director of the Village Alliance. I just want to thank my council members, the Commissioner for this work. Anything we can do to reduce conflicts between cyclists, pedestrians, cars, we're all for. It's great for the health of our commercial corridors, and we're really excited to be here. So thank you so much.
Yeah. Now let's hear from Karasik, right? And from the Hobson Square Business Improvement. Again, those are the institutions that without them, we will not be able to move this project.
Hi, Hi, Samara Karasik with the Hudson Square Bid, just outside this border. We're so excited for this new protected bike lane and for all the infrastructure that DOT, Councilmember Botcher, Councilmember Marte have worked on with us. Thank you, Commissioner. We really appreciate it. We are by the entrance of the Holland Tunnel. Congestion pricing has been amazing for our neighborhood, and we hope that with that, we can do more projects like this throughout Hudson Square and the rest of New York City. Thank you.
Thank you. We all agree that when we get home, we want to order food, we do rely on the essential workers. That without them, we'll not be able to get the services that we need. That the reason why there's so many of them that they have to get in so fast is because in many occasions, they only have like 5 minutes from the moment when they pick up the food to bring it to us warm. So we have Lee here, who is one of the great leaders, who is now representing the Workers' Justice Project Executive Director, Ligia Walpa.
So thank you so much. First of all, I want to say, when we started organizing Deliveristas in 2020, Deliveristas have been building the conversation that street safety is workplace safety for them. And today is a testament that the idea of rebuilding and redesigning our city streets, it's also about delivering a street safety for everybody. So first of all, I want to say thank you so much to the commissioner. Thank you so much to our Deliverista champions who are behind us, like Councilmember Marte, Councilmember Butcher, and also Carlina Rivera. So we're excited because I think many of our colleagues and advocates have said, and leaders, that actually Manhattan happens to be where a great majority of deliveristas are transporting food, medicine, groceries across the city. Also, the number of injuries that have existed in that industry has been growing over the last year. There's been more than 30 deliveristas that have died. About 50% of deliveristas in reports have actually said that have experienced injury, mostly caused by traffic crimes. So I want to ensure that people understand that delivering bike lanes, protected bike lanes, it's about delivering a street safety for frontline workers who day and night, rain or shine, are delivering food and essential services for New York. So thank you so much once again for delivering the infrastructure that really meets the needs of app delivery workers for 65,000 app delivery workers across New York City. And I invited Antonio to say some words because I think it's important for deliveristas' voices to also be uplifted and really making sure that they also are heard. And also he wanted to appreciate everybody's support on rebuilding our city's infrastructure.
Hola. Buenos días. Bueno, antes que nada, quiero agradecerle al comisionado, a todo el departamento del DOT que hace el esfuerzo de hacer las líneas de bicicleta y solamente para recordarles que eso ayuda mucho a los deliveristas para que se cuiden, no haya muchos accidentes y nada, y decirle que muchas gracias y que cada tramo cuenta en estas líneas. Muchas gracias.
Thank you. Thank you. I want to acknowledge Mark Diller and also Zach Bomer. Let's give them a big round of applause for the community board, district manager. I also want to acknowledge an applause, and we're now ready for the ribbon cutting.
We have a lot of guests who want to get on their way. So we're going to do the ribbon cutting first over here. It's going to take a few minutes to assemble, and then we'll follow that up with Q&A and afterwards. So just bear with us for a short while. Thank you.
get one opposed?
Countdown for 5. 5, 4, 3.